What's going on, everybody? You see a Jaguar back with GenJag.com, and NFL free agency is a month away, and the Jaguars are going to have to make some tough decisions with some players that have been key contributors to the Jaguars in the past few seasons. A position that the Jaguars are rather unfamiliar with when it comes to drafting good players and having to re-sign them to bigger contracts. We saw the 2013 NFL draft class basically be non-existent from the team now. Nobody from that draft class was re-signed by the Jaguars, but 2014 was a whole different story. We drafted guys like Blake Bortles, Marquise Lee, Allen Robinson, Brandon Linder, Telvin Smith, and just tons of players that were big contributors to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Jaguars extended guys like Brandon Linder, Telvin Smith, but this year we're going to have to make some decisions on some guys such as Marquise Lee, Aaron Colvin, and most importantly in my eyes, Allen Robinson. And this video is going to be me making the case for Allen Robinson about why the Jaguars need to make sure this guy is in the Jaguars' future plans. Alright, let's get it.
It's a foot race. Robinson and Browner, and it's Robinson who wins it. Touchdown Jacksonville. His 14th win. Bortles with time, looking deep for Robinson.
Now, if Allen Robinson hits the open market, there are going to be tons of teams that are interested in his services. He is going to be a top commodity. There are teams that are filled with cap space that would be interested in signing him, such as teams like the 49ers, the Cleveland Browns, the New York Jets, the Chicago Bears, all kinds of teams that either have young quarterbacks or are going to be upgrading their quarterback position this offseason, you know, with the quarterback free agent market being filled with quarterbacks, as well as the draft being a bunch of quarterbacks available. And when you want to upgrade the quarterback position or you bring in a quarterback, teams want to surround them with pieces to help them succeed. And that's exactly what Allen Robinson does. He is a player that will turn a 50-50 ball into a 70-30 ball. He is an absolute dynamic playmaker, and he is what you would call a #1 wide receiver and a go-to wide receiver. Now, the Jaguars were greatly missing his services this year after he went down after the first catch of the season. If you go back and look at Allen Robinson's numbers, you know, in 2014, 48 catches, 548 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Now, granted, I believe he was injured about 5 or 6 weeks in that season where he basically missed the tail end of the season, but he still put up some good numbers. Now, 2015 was really when he really exploded to the scene. He had 80 catches, 1,400 yards, and 14 touchdowns. A complete breakout year for Allen Robinson, and this year really showed what he could be. Now, 2016, he kind of took a little bit of a step back, 73 catches, 883 yards, and 6 touchdowns. However, this 2016 season, I do not put on him because we had an atrocious offense. Blake Bortles was really bad. We had no run game. Chris Ivory, TJ Yeldon combined for 904 rushing yards and I believe like 4 rushing touchdowns, and our offense was just anemic that season. Greg Olsen got shown the doors a few games into the season, and honestly, that whole entire offense was just awful. I mean, you look at the offensive line. We had 80% of the offensive line that was there in 2016 as there was in 2017, with Cam Robinson being the only guy in new offensive lineman in there to replace our former left tackle Kelvin Beachum. And you saw our offense was much more productive in 2017 as it was 2016. So I think it's unfair to put 2016 on Allen Robinson, but I mean, if you look at 2015, you saw a player that was explosive. He was a beast in 2015. When Allen Robinson went down for the Jaguars this year, our receiving core became a lot worse. And one thing that Allen Robinson does when he's on the field, when he's not even catching the ball, I mean, the guy draws double teams. If you have Allen Robinson on the field, then you're going to take away some of these boxes that we've seen. I mean, when you look at 2016, even a guy like Julius Thomas. Now, Julius Thomas, he really wasn't as good as a tight end as we thought he would be, but one thing that Julius Thomas did bring to the plate is that teams did respect them as a decent receiving weapon. And this year, it just didn't seem like defenses really respected any player on our offense to be able to win one-on-one battles. If you look around our offense, none of the receivers are really all that healthy all throughout the year. The only receiver that was out there for every single game was Keelan Cole. I mean, if you look at the receivers, our top 3 receivers when the season started, you had Allen Robinson, obviously, is your number 1, injured after his first catch. Then you had Marquise Lee, who was in and out of the season with injuries, and Allen Hurns, who was obviously even more injured than Marquise Lee. You had D.D. Westbrook that didn't come into the lineup until the tail end of the season. You had to cycle in other wide receivers into the mix, like Jadon Mickens, Aurelius Ben. You had Jalen Strong in there for a little bit. Even a guy like Max McCaffrey. Our receiving core was not very good in 2017, and that did ultimately hurt the run game because the boxes got loaded, and they basically said, all right, we're going to load the box and really trust Blake Bortles to be able to make crisp, good one-on-one passes to the wide receivers, and we're going to let the cornerbacks handle that. And the Jaguars also didn't have much of a threat at tight end, which I do expect them to hopefully upgrade this offseason. If they don't, then that is stupid. Now, according to Ryan O'Halloran from the Florida Times-Union, he said that he would be shocked if the Jaguars do not re-sign Allen Robinson next season. Now, the thing is, are you going to give him a long-term contract, or are you going to franchise tag him? There are 3 different kinds of franchise tags that you can put on him: the exclusive tag, the non-exclusive tag, and a transition tag. Now, I would expect the Jaguars to put the exclusive tag on him because that enables the Jaguars to keep him, and other teams can't throw in other contracts that the Jaguars would have to match. I would expect most likely to get a franchise tag just because I don't expect Allen Robinson to accept any kind of long-term contract that the Jaguars give him, just because he is not going to be able to get a contract like he would expect if he had a healthy season. And Allen Robinson knows what he's capable of. He knows that he deserves top dollar, and after getting injured, I mean, he's going to have to get another prove-it deal with the Jaguars. Now, the deadline to put this franchise tag on Allen Robinson is March 1st, and it's expected that it's going to be around $16.3 million. So we'll see what the Jaguars wind up doing with Allen Robinson. I think that they will put the franchise tag on him. I just don't think there's any way you can let Allen Robinson leave the Jaguars. I just think it would be stupid, and if he does leave the Jaguars, then it's going to leave a big hole at wide receiver, and the Jaguars were going to have to find a number 1 receiver somehow, and it'll most likely be through the draft. Now, I don't know if it'd be like getting a guy like Cortland Sutton out of SMU or what it would be, because Calvin Ridley will most likely be gone when the Jaguars draft at 29. Now, I do think that Allen Robinson is the top wide receiver free agent on the market. You can make an argument for a guy like Jarvis Landry, but Jarvis Landry is more of a slot guy, and Allen Robinson is definitely an outside kind of number 1 guy. So I do think Allen Robinson just has a higher ceiling than Jarvis Landry, but Jarvis Landry has been able to stay healthy these last few seasons, obviously is coming off of a healthy season, which drives up his value. Now, Allen Robinson, while he did have his ACL tear in 2017, he has not been a super injured guy. He only got injured his rookie year, where he missed about 6 games. 2015, 2016, he was healthy all 16 games. So it's not like this dude is an injury-prone dude. He just happened to tear his ACL, which is kind of a league-wide epidemic. Let me know in the comment section if you guys think that the Jaguars should bring back Allen Robinson, or if you guys think that he's going to be too expensive and we should let him walk. Thank you guys for watching my video. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and this is UC at Jaguar with GenJag.com, and I'm out.
Keep this shit in bounds, bro.